What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Zero Lab. Today, we're taking a look at more Pokemon TCG Pocket decks, and we're looking at Primeape Marowak EX deck with that new Mankey promo card from the Lapras event. This Mankey is a big upgrade on the Mankey that we had available to us previously. It has that Reckless Charge attack for 1 fighting energy. It does 30 damage to your opponent, and this Pokemon also does 10 damage to itself. That 10 damage to itself is huge because the Primeape reads, if this Pokemon has damage on it, this attack does 60 more damage. So you damage yourself, now the Primeape can use that fight back attack for 2 fighting energies and do 100 damage to your opponents. So that is a very strong attack. We have it paired in here with the Marowak EX as well, which is probably the best fighting type EX, has 140 HP and has that Bone Meringue attack for 2 fighting energies, and then you flip 2 coins. This attack does 80 damage for each head, so a potential of 160 damage coming down from that Marowak EX. We also have 2 of the Hitmonlee in here. Hitmonlee just has a great single energy attack in that stretch kick where it will do 30 damage to one of your opponent's benched Pokemon. So it doesn't target down the active, but it is a way to finish off something that you might have damaged earlier in the game or set up damage on something for later in the game. Running out the trainers, we have 2 X-Speeds, 2 Pokeballs, 2 Professor's Research, 2 Giovanni, and 2 Sabrinas in here. So that is the Primeape deck list, and we're just going to go into a few of these emblem battles here as we progress towards those 45 wins to get that gold emblem, and we'll see if we can get a couple wins with this Primeape deck. Found our first opponent here. And we will see who is going first. Looks like a tails on the coin flip, so we are going second. And that is just fine. That means we can attack with our Mankey going first, set up some of that damage on him. We have the Primeape in hand, ready to go to use that fight back attack. Looks like we're going up against Mewtwo. This can be a tough matchup if they get set up quickly, so we're going to be looking to target down those Ralts, make sure that they cannot get a Gardevoir out. Mewtwo EX coming down from our opponent. And probably just a pass of the turn here. Nope. X-Speed first to retreat out of that Ralts, protect it from that Mankey, but that is fine with us because we can just start setting up damage on that Mewtwo EX with the Mankey. Alright, draw for turn here. We have Sabrina. We're going to hold that Sabrina for now. That's something that we might use next turn to target down that benched Ralts with the Primeape. But we're just going to start with a Reckless Charge on this Mewtwo EX. Set up 30 damage on there. Unfortunately, that damage isn't quite enough to get us to knocking out this Mewtwo EX with Primeape next turn. So we may end up Sabrinaing that Curlia. We do have the Primeape obviously in hand. Another Mankey coming down from that draw for turn. Can evolve into Primeape here. One of the things I'm worried about, they're doing 50 plus 20 with weakness, so 70 next turn with the Mewtwo EX. So if they do have a Giovanni, they can knock out our Primeape next turn, which would be unfortunate, but I think taking out their Curlia here is definitely worth it. So we're going to fight back onto this Curlia, take the knockout, and then hope that our opponent doesn't have Giovanni. If they do have the Giovanni, that could put us in a difficult position. But if they do not, I think we're in a very good spot. We'll see what our opponent's able to do on this turn. Touch for turn coming down. They're ready to use that Psychic Spear attack, and they do have the Giovanni. That is not good for us. We are going to need to find another Primeape quickly. They are now one-shotting our Mankey. So we need to evolve that up into a Primeape this turn. Alright, we get a Pokeball. Hopefully this can find a Cubone. Hitmonlee, that's not good. That attack does not hit our opponent's active. Alright, we're going to attach to the Mankey and then just retreat out of the Mankey. We were looking to be in a good spot, but they had that Giovanni, sort of the perfect storm of things that we didn't want to have happen. And if they do have the Sabrina on this turn, I think that is going to be game. Potion coming down to heal a little damage off of that Mewtwo EX. Another attachment for turn. Psychic Sphere going to do 70 to our Hitmonlee. Alright, Giovanni. That's not going to do it for us. I think this is just a concession here, sadly. Just couldn't quite draw into the things we needed. We never saw a research. We never saw a Cubone, even though we had that Marowak in hand. And our opponent just, despite the fact that we were able to KO their Curlias, keep them from setting up their main strategy, they just had the perfect trainer cards in hand to counter what we were doing. So we're going to go into a game 2 here and see if we can do a little bit better in this game 2. The first game, we had a really good start and just sort of fizzled out because we couldn't top deck quite what we needed. Looks like we are going second again. That's great. Hopefully we can start the Mankey again. Looks like we have Mankey, Cubone. I'm wondering if it's better to start the Cubone here, because we have the Marowak in hand. I think we're going to do that. We will still bench the Mankey and the Hitmonlee just to avoid any issues. We can Growl this turn and avoid 20 damage from that Machop, and then evolve up into Marowak EX. If we had the Primeape in hand, we probably would just have started the Mankey there. But since we do not have the Primeape in hand, and we do have the Marowak in hand, we might as well start the Cubone. Research coming down from our opponent. They have their own Mankeys now on the bench, and just a pass over to us. We have a Sabrina, and we're just going to start with a Growl from this Cubone. Growl says that the opposing Pokemon does 20 less damage on their next turn. Machop does 20 for 1 fighting, so that will prevent any of that damage from that Machop unless they are able to evolve it. I'll be honest, I don't really remember what Machoke's attack is. Another Machop coming down from our opponent, attach for turn on to the active. And let's see what they do here. Sabrina, going to bring up one of our Pokemon. I think we're going to give him the Hitmonlee. Knuckle Punch doing 0 after that Growl from the last turn. Top deck another Hitmonlee. We're going to evolve into the Marowak. Attach to Hitmonlee, and then we're going to stretch kick the benched Machop. Obviously, we don't want to be stretch kicking those Mankeys. We do not want to give them the damage counters on themselves so that their Primeape is doing more damage. So we'll start to set up some damage on that benched Machop. And a Knuckle Punch coming down from the opposing Machop. And we have a research. Hopefully we can draw into an X speed so we don't have to manually retreat out of this Hitmonlee. We draw into our other Mankey, so we will bench that. We're going to attach for turn onto the Marowak. Retreat out of the Hitmonlee into the Marowak. See if we can get the Oko on this Machop. Bone Meringue, flipping 2 coins. Can we just get 1 heads? There is 1 heads. 2 heads. All right, doing 160. A little overkill, but that is fine. Taking the first knockout here. Our opponent sending up that Mankey. Attach for turn. Reckless Charge, going to do 30 to us, 10 to them. unless they evolve into the Primeape here. Primeape does have 90 HP, so we would have the Giovanni to hit that 90 in case we only flipped one heads on the Bone Meringue attack. Alright, pass from our opponent. Touch for turn onto one of our Mankeys. We'll evolve that same Mankey. We're going to play Giovanni here just to ensure the knockout, hopefully, unless we do flip that double tails. But fingers crossed we don't do that. Alright, we got it. We just needed the one heads, and we were able to get there. Knockout on that Primeape from that Giovanni. And that should pretty much be the game for us now. Opponent promoting that Machop. And there is the concession. All right, moving into a game 3 then. We'll proceed through this endgame screen. 29 wins out of 45. We are getting there. Send a thanks to our opponent. And then jump into another battle. We have been going second most games, which is great. Obviously, I think there's just almost no deck that doesn't want to go second in TCG Pocket. Getting that energy attachment is so important turn 1. And we get to go second again. There we go. Getting lucky with those coin flips today. We have the Mankey in hand to start, so we will start that. We obviously have the Hitmonlee as well. And looks like we're going up against a Wheezing deck. That's great because we do hit the Wheezing for weakness. However, we do need to be careful about our Mankey here. We can obviously attack into this Coughing. However, doing Reckless Charge here would put us at 40 HP remaining, and then they would just need to tackle with the Wheezing plus poison us for the knockout. So I think we are not going to Reckless Charge. We are just going to attach for turn and wait to use Fight Back. They will poison us, and that will put the damage counters on us that we need for Primeape. So we are just going to end our turn without attacking. Sometimes that's a little weird to do, but in this situation, it's definitely the right play. Research coming down from our opponent. We do have the Wheezing, so good thing we did not Reckless Charge. Touch for turn on that Wheezing. They're going to Gas Leak us here. And that'll actually be game because of the weakness. We're dealing 100 damage with Primeape, plus weakness will knock out the Wheezing. And Fight Back. Our opponent concedes. All right, that was a very quick game. Thank goodness we thought about the math on that Reckless Charge. The tackle plus the poison from the Wheezing plus the damage to ourselves from that Reckless Charge would have put us in a bad spot there. So those are sort of the things you have to think about, thinking ahead, making sure you're not not losing the game by damaging yourself there. Going into a fourth game here. Let's see what we're playing against. Heads, we are finally going first. So it was about time. We had been able to go second most games. So about time that we go first here. See what we were playing against. Looks like it is an Articuno deck. So we definitely want to find more basics in case they get those crazy heads flips off of Misty. We could lose the game right here if we don't find another basic. There is Hitmonlee. And I'm going to X-Speed out of the Mankey. I just don't want to risk having them hit into it. Now on our turn here. If they do somehow Blizzard on this turn, that would set up the damage on our Mankey to use the Primeape attack anyway in the future. I mean, hopefully they're not going to Blizzard here, but they do have the turn 1 Misty. So it is a strong possibility. Tails right away on the Misty, though. You love to see it when you're the opponent, but you hate to see it when you're the one playing the Misty. All right, detach for turn onto the benched Mankey, and we'll just end our turn there. Can't really Reckless Charge. Mankey's only got 50 HP, Ice Wing doing 40, and then the Reckless Charge doing 10 damage to ourselves. That would just pave the way for a knockout for our opponent, so we're not going to be doing that. We definitely need to start drawing into our evolutions or our Cubones, just something that can attack. Helix Fossil coming down from our opponent. Pokeball from our opponent as well. For another Articuno EX, that means we can start stretch kicking. We don't want to stretch kick the Fossil because they can just discard it, so the damage we put on that stretch Fossil won't matter. Ice Wing coming down from our opponent, doing 40 to the Hitmonlee. And we're just going to attach energy. We're going to stretch kick the benched Articuno EX. We need to start drawing a little bit better, though, or we are going to be in trouble for sure. Attach for turn coming down onto the benched Articuno. So they don't want a Blizzard. That makes sense. They're avoiding that bench damage on our Mankeys because they don't want to set up our Primapes to do that fight back attack. Little do they know, we do not have any Primapes in hand. All right, Ice Wing going to knock out the Hitmonlee. Promote the Mankey with energy on it. Hopefully we can top deck a Primeape here. And we do. That is huge. Now they're kind of forced to attack into the Primeape with Blizzard. Obviously, they could have a Giovanni to Oko this Primeape, but hopefully that is not the case. Sadly, we're just not really drawing through our deck. We haven't found our Cubones. We haven't found another research. We haven't found any of our Pokeballs. So that is unfortunate. Potion can heal up that Articuno to avoid the knockout from the fight back next turn if they do hit into us. Opponent with the hand scope. You can see now that our hand is quite bad. And I imagine we're just going to see a Blizzard here. No reason not to. There's the attach for turn. Blizzard going to do 80 to our active, 10 to our bench. There is a Pokeball finally. That will find us our Cubone, hopefully. No! They're Hitmonlee. That stinks. Alright. If they have Sabrina, they just have game. I'm going to bench that anyway. But a Sabrina will be game for them. They can do 80 to whatever I send up, and then the 10 damage from the Blizzard attack will KO that active Primeape on the bench. And there is the Sabrina. We'll let them take the knockout. No need to concede here, but yeah, just some unfortunate draws there. We couldn't quite get into anything cool. We've got two Cubones and two... we have two Cubones, a Research, and a Pokeball left in that 7-card deck. And just couldn't quite find them, and we definitely need to be attacking with the Marowak in that matchup and letting the bench damage power up our Primapes. But yeah, we couldn't quite get there in that one, unfortunately. But obviously, you can see sort of the power of the Primeape from this deck. The combination of that Reckless Charge and then going into the Primeape to do 100 damage can be really strong. Unfortunately, sometimes the damage you do with that Reckless Charge can set up your opponent's knockouts, so it can put you in a kind of a bad position. Fighting types generally are in a tough spot in the TCG, both the regular TCG and TCG Pocket. They don't always have the best support or the best attackers, but if you want to play fighting types in TCG Pocket, I think the Primeape and the Marowak is really the only way you have to go. Machamp just doesn't do too much. Golem doesn't do too much. But maybe we'll try to figure out ways to build decks around those too. But if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to leave a like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you guys in the next video.